Holy shit, Batman, is Brightburn the origins of Bizarro? You get it? Brightburn, Bizarro? Maybe so. If you think so, I want you to share this video and maybe it actually might become if it ain't already. But this is my thoughts. If you have any thoughts, leave a comment below. Share this video. Let's go. Get him, Chuck. Whoa, what up with your YouTube and YouTube bust? It's your boy TripleCup Chuck and I'm up. And welcome to TripleCup's review of Brightburn. Now, if you haven't seen Brightburn yet, the statute of limitation is over with. But this is one of those movies, if you get somebody spoil you, don't really take away from the movie. So I think you'll be good. But I know everybody's seen the thumb tag that I put on there with Bizarro and Brightburn and my correlation on that. I know y'all want to know about this here. Like, what TripleCup is conjuring over there, you know what I'm saying, cooking in the pot. Y'all know how I rock, you know what I'm saying? I cook with a lot of herbs and seasons and stuff. But when I first seen the previews of Brightburn, what you could see was a Superman-ish Elseworld story if Superman would have grew up and turned bad from the beginning. Now, I was like, okay, I'm into that. So, as the preview showed, when I was watching the movie, it proceeded the same way, like, you know what I'm saying, things that Superman would do. I mean, let's just call it as it is, because it don't make no sense to calling the characters what they're not, but, you know, they're not made by DC. But DC was smart. They'll take, like, you know what I'm saying, like, for example, Will Smith, he seen somebody on YouTube, and he was remaking The Fresh Prince, and how Will Smith got behind it because it was a good idea. So DC need to get behind this him. And I'm going to explain why I think DC need to get behind this here in the middle of the review, too. You know, I'm TripleCup. I like to break three things at one time. So, we got the movie. And it's kind of like started off real slow. It got a slow burn. So, if you cannot watch a movie that have a beginning that's a slow burn, that you know, say that's not your type of movie, you're going to hate this movie. But if you could get through the, you know what I'm saying, the character development and how they kind of introduce, and it's a small budget movie, but they take the money and they place it in precise points of the movie to actually make it feel like a bigger budget than what it actually was. So, you know what I'm saying, don't go in there just thinking it's going to be a cheesy, corny movie. I mean, they really placed their budget in the proper location where it needs to be. So I had to give my hats out to that part of it. I mean, they didn't have no super big budget, but they made it work. So, you know what I'm saying, while you're watching the movie, the burn, you might get a part here and a part, then you start seeing why he's bad. But a lot of people I heard, they complain about the fact that they could have took more character development on him and gave him more of a cause for him, you know what I'm saying, turning bad, like more of reasoning, instead of what they did was, like I said, spoilers. What they did was they took a cheap writing way out. Because I write sometimes myself, and I could kind of point out some of these cheats, the escapes that they do. As in one, they said the spaceship talked to him and made him think that he had to kill the universe and stuff like that because he's the most powerful person. And instead of saying, well, he's going through these situations and this happened, you know, so they could have put layers on stuff to say, okay, I understand, I feel his pain. Like certain people, like when Killmonger and Black Panther, like, okay, I understand why he doing that. Like on Spider-Man Homecoming, you could be like, okay, you got the villain and his daughter, and you got Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying, and you kind of feel like why they doing, you feel a tug of war. You don't feel like just one person. Even in Netflix, you can understand why Wilson Fisk did what he did. I mean, you know what I'm saying, that's what they was missing about this movie. That was my only thing that I could kind of agree with people, like that part was missing, but it wasn't that important because, like I said, my expectations was in check going to see this movie. So you could kind of overlook that part. Now they have it where he turned bad and he just go around killing people. It's just, you know what I'm saying, a typical horror movie, but it's a what if story. And I was like, okay, with a what if story, now if DC can get behind them as a smart corporation, like when they bought Swamp Thing, and you know what I'm saying, they bought all these other corporations. If DC was smart, they'll get behind them and they'll say, you know what, let's open up this universe and we can say this is the origin of Bizarro on the opposite side of, you know what I'm saying, from with Superman. Because to be honest with you, I don't know too many comics that could sit there and give a depth story of Bizarro off the fly. Off the fly, not even myself. So that's one of those characters everybody know, but don't really know his backstory in depth. You might say, okay, well, Bizarro came from a different dimension, but you don't know his story. That's the point I was trying to say. So with that being said, they could use Brightburn to say, oh, this is the origin of Bizarro. And then you could have like different things that's going on in his universe. and that would give it more depth. So when people go see if DC was smart, they can get behind it, and people will get behind it. They will actually have a whole different genre that they're trying to open up, because DC is trying to get into the horror. Because if you'd have seen the Swamp Thing, the DC show, you know what I'm saying, it kind of got that dark horror vibe. And if you see, they got stuff like Suicide Squad. They looking for that one thing, and out the blue, it could be Bizarro, or you know what I'm saying, a B-list character becoming one of the top main characters that nobody seen coming. So with me personally, I would take the whole origins of Brightburn, and then like at the end, I mean, I don't know if who okay, I'm just gonna just get to the end. The worst thing I ever seen, and what made me really feel like, okay, this is Bizarro, because he did this here. Like his mama, he seen her, and he kind of like came back, and his eyes, you know what I'm saying, so he started becoming human, you know what I'm saying, feeling human again. So when his mama went to hug him, and she grabbed a knife, and she was gonna try to not a knife, but a piece of the ship or whatever like that, something that could actually kill him. So she was gonna actually kill him, and that's when he pulled back and he seen her and he stopped her and he took her to outer space. And while he was just looking at it, he was just holding it, he was just looking at it with an old death bland look. And his mama was looking at him just saying, look, I love you. But she knew what he was capable of, and she knew what she had to do, but she couldn't do it. And after she took him out of space, you could see her breath just barely, where she barely could breathe, and her breath was just leaving her body. And as her soul was starting to float away, he dropped, and you could see her body float back to the ground. I mean, it was kind of heartbreaking. If they could have put, you know what I'm saying, a little bit deeper right into those type of moments, and made a more of a build up for that, instead of the way they was doing it was his mama just took up for him for everything he did. You know what I'm saying? She was supposed to be like one of those mamas that just made excuses for a child, instead of saying, okay, I know I got a badass child, he need his ass whooped, he need time out, he need punishment. You know, she was one of those women saying, oh, not my son. That could have, you know what I'm saying, they could have played a little bit more into that. They gave him, like, you know what I'm saying, that entitled, spoiled, entitlement, you know what I'm saying, mentality. And that would have gave him more of that personality of why he like that, because he's a brat, and show why he's a brat and how he come, you know what I'm saying. They could have given into more detail with that, but why they was doing, you know what I'm saying, but that's still cool, because they could make, when they make a part 2, they can actually have more money behind it, what can get better writers or more writers to give more depth detail. So that's what I'm looking for. Like if DC was smart to hop on the train of taking this corporation, like, you know, even Xbox and PlayStation do that. Well, they have developers and that's making good games, and they will buy them and make them a part of their team. And once they become a part of the team, they're making games for them because they seen so much potential, and they had like a mutual thing. And like I said, of course, on the sides of comic books, like you have a lot of comics, people don't know, actually didn't start with Marvel, and they didn't start with DC. There was their own entity, and then they got introduced into the universe because they was bought out by one of these characters. Like for example, Shazam. Shazam didn't start with DC. If people don't know, Shazam, I forgot the corporation because it was like, you know what I'm saying, before my time. But check out the Heroic Vibration podcast. One of my Panama members, they remember those dates all the way down to the T. Now, me personally, the only thing that I know is that they didn't start, and you can look it up for yourself, Google it. They did not start with DC. And there was another one, Swamp Thing did not start with DC. You know, they got something with Marvel. So it's not uncommon for this to happen. Well, that was my thoughts about that. So and if you like to see Brightburn, I would say it's a pretty decent movie. Go see it, but keep your expectations in check. Well, this your boy TripleCup Chuck, and I'm out. And remember, I don't do this for me, I do this for we. So like, subscribe, and holler at your boy.